Welcome to the Ricky Mathews Show, where we celebrate every single day the amazing people who are working to make Mississippi such a great place to live, work, and play. And I want to thank everyone for continuing to pay attention to this show, either through SuperTalk Radio or Facebook or YouTube or your favorite podcast or SuperTalk TV. And as you know, we've actually begun to branch out. The show on Thursdays plays in the Jackson market now, and the Delta is going to be going to other market. We're going to increasing the number of days, going about it slowly but surely so that we can have content that's relevant. What I hope to do, in fact, as we continue to branch out, is have community leaders from Jackson talk about their community in a way that connects to coastal Mississippi and vice versa. Same thing for the Delta. Just as I had the leader of the Golden Triangle Economic Development effort, Joe Max Higgins, and the work that they're doing up there, the billions of dollars of economic development they're doing up there, and getting his point of view about Mississippi, the regions of Mississippi, the way the coast plays into the overall conversation. It's all really, really good stuff. But the feedback continues to be really, really incredible. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And we get great feedback about potential future guests. We get feedback on the kind of conversations that we could be having, and Cammie, I tell you, Cammie Martin, who is the content producer for the show, who's the one who works with our guests. I can't tell you how much I enjoy working with Cammie. She's over social media for SuperTalk Mississippi Media, and I had the pleasure of having her work with me to help plan these shows. And she is absolutely a firecracker and terrific to work with. And we're continuing to find ways to extend the show. I'll give you an example. We actually took some segments from the conversation I had with John Hairston last week, and they've been posted as reels. They've been posted as short segments. We're posting them across multiple mediums. And then some of what he said, I think, is really applicable to the ongoing conversation in Mississippi about healthcare. So there'll be a news story that emanates from that to SuperTalk Mississippi News that'll be shared across the state as well. But two areas of the conversation that got posted. One is about leadership and about what we learned after Hurricane Katrina. And John made the point that we think we know what a bad day looks like until we have a worse day. And he talked about, us having such a difficult time after Hurricane Katrina, and the way that the majority of us came to the forefront to lead forward and didn't worry about placing blame or anything like that. We just kind of, as Haley Barber often said, we hitched up the britches and got on with the program. And then John shared his personal anguish that he had a 6-year-old daughter that passed away along the way. And he said, again, you think you've had a bad day until your day gets worse. And there's inspiration from a leader like John, who shares stories like that says, in spite of those adversities in my life, I found my way to find positive things in life, and my way to give back to the community. And he shares that. We shared a reel that came from that part of the conversation, just terrific. And the other part was about Medicaid expansion. And too many people on the Republican side try to make Medicaid expansion the boogeyman. And then everyone on the other side tries to make it look like it's all free money. And he makes the point that it's neither one of those. And what we need to do is look at it as an economic development issue, as a financial issue, and as a hot healthcare issue. And if we look at it like that and not a political issue where people run to the right side or to the left side, we might be able to actually solve some problems in this state as it relates to healthcare. And John has some terrific things to say about that. I think clearly the business community is going to have a lot to say about how we lead forward. And I'm privileged to have people like John to have access to, and I've had the opportunity to work with him in the community for so many years, and he's such a good friend. And that's what this show's all about: is to teach people, to help you think, help you have sort of reflection in your world, to say you think you're having a bad day, realize that could always be worse, and find a way to lift yourself up, and know that there are people around you that care about you and can help you lift up. One last thing I'll say is that one thing I always focus on in this show is that we always need to treat each other with respect. I mean, on social media too often we're willing to say things we would never say to someone's face. We never know what someone is going through. We just never know what someone is going through. And if we will always consider that, we would love our fellow man more. I can assure you that. So now let's shift gears and move over to my friend Cynthia Sutton, who is the executive director for the Ocean Springs Chamber and a good friend of the show. And it's been a while since she's been on. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
Well, listen, we talked a little bit before the show started. You had a slight accident and injured the heel of your foot, and it's been a week or two or three of recovery for you. I'm glad to hear that you're on the upside. But boy, when you live in a walkable community, having an injured heel, that's a tough deal, isn't it?
It is. I mean, just like what you were saying, like me and some of my friends and family have been actually talking about kind of the same thing. When you think you've had a bad day, you just never know. Everything we do is walkable, and, all of a sudden not to be able to walk, it's kind of like walking is a luxury, and people take advantage of that. And you never know, what's going to happen.
Yeah,
but I'm on the mend, so.
hey, yeah, I'm glad to hear that you're on the mend. I had a wonderful conversation with the mayor recently, and we talked about a bunch of things. But one of the things he said that he was looking forward to, and I was out mowing my yard this morning, and you can just feel a little bit of crispness in the air. I said this last week, or said it earlier in the week, that Ann said. I went outside and I said, gosh, it's beautiful out here this morning. She said, don't tell me it's cool, because it wasn't cool. But the way I described it, you couldn't cut it with a knife like you normally could. You could feel that coolness might be on the way. But as you approach fall, man, fall in Ocean Springs, you're going to have the lights back up in the trees again, getting ready for Christmas. You've got incredible events coming. We've got Cruisin the Coast coming. Fall in Ocean Springs, man, it spells tremendous opportunity, doesn't it?
It does. Well, we like to call it festival season. We started with our Art Walk or Labor Day weekend, and then from now until the end of the year, Ocean Springs is just full of activities. This is our time where we focus on generating revenue, activities, people, meaning the tourist traffic, everything to Ocean Springs, and to have a little bit of cooler weather just really kind of kicks it off. So we're excited. We're going to be, sprucing up downtown, which is, where all the bulk of the events and festivals are. We're going to be sprucing that up. So it's time to pull out the fall decor. So we're ready for it.
Hey, listen, Cynthia, as you know, my mother passed away about a month ago, and God bless her, she had the opportunity to spend time at my sister's house in her final days, and my sister Mitzi, who lives in Gulf Hills, and my brother-in-law, Mac Harper, God, they're angels on earth, but it was I spent a lot of time over there, and for obviously for good reason, but it's easy to fall in love with Ocean Springs, man. I mean, it's just so much about Ocean Springs that is so special. I know my mother loved being there. My sister loves living there. There's a contagious aspect to it. I had a wonderful conversation with Roxy Condry about a week ago, or maybe a couple of weeks ago now, as she talked about their continued investments in the city and the reemergence of Gulf Hills as a resort and all of that. And then, of course, my friend Joe Cloyd continues with his development, and there's so much going on Government Street. My goodness, man. I mean, the city is really on fire with opportunity, isn't it?
It is. It's just one of those times, people kind of think, why is this happening? Everything goes, in a circle and rotation. It just happens to be that time where we have the right folks, the right environment, the right time, just to have all those developments and things happening. Like you said, Government Street. Oh my gosh, just wait. Government Street is looking great, and it just continues to grow. And that's because of all the wonderful business partners that we have, which of course, I like to say comes out of the Main Street culture that was built in Ocean Springs, that people just love it. Like you said, the walkability, it's walkable, it's fun. We have all these activities, everything going on. Just the way our downtown is situated is like no other on the coast, but we join in with the coast, of course, and making it the best that it can be. It's just a cool environment. We have a downtown walking map that we put out, and it has 140 to 150 things you can walk and see and do, mostly shopping, restaurants, nightlife, museums. But that's kind of amazing in one downtown area. So it's, it just keeps growing, and we love all of our partners, and it's amazing how those partners keep that that character, that aesthetic, and what they're building. Like our friends with Rain Residential, all that they're doing, they have a love, they have a passion, they live in Ocean Springs, and that's what everybody just wants. All the development with all of our partners that we have seen are folks that live here and are part of here, and they just want to enrich it and make it look better and keep that Main Street character.
And then you have the nonprofit community. When I think about the nonprofit community, I can't help but think about our friend Julian Rankin and the work that he's doing over at the Walter Anderson Museum and their plans for the future and how that's all starting to come together. But, it does take a village. Haley Barber used to always say that government can help people get on their knees. And so in the case of a city like Ocean Springs, they can put zoning and all these things in place, but it's going to be private investment that helps us get on our feet. And a city cannot reach its potential unless someone's somewhere, but hopefully many people are willing to invest millions and millions of dollars in it. And that's what's happening in Ocean Springs right now. When we come back on the other side, we'll talk a little bit more about festival season and what's in store. We'll see you after this break. You can feel the coolness in the air. You really can. No secret to folks who are regular listeners, I love to cut my yard. I don't know. I get good exercise, but I love to look at it when I'm done and just say, gosh, I think someone sent me a note one day when I posted about my yard. They said, that's the single thing that you can do where you can get like instant gratification. And that's the way I feel about my yard. That's for sure. I'm talking now with my friend, executive director for the Ocean Springs Chamber. She's also head of Main Street, which is sort of the tourism entity for Ocean Springs. And it is, and Cynthia Sutton, excuse me. Cynthia, it's that time of year as you guys start to look towards some amazing events. Kind of give us a feel for what's next.
Okay, so over this next couple of months, we're going to be visited just in our little town of Ocean Springs by more than 200,000 people, really closer to 300, actually. We've done economic impact studies over the years, and we'll continue to do those to back up that documentation. But we're on the heels of Cruisin the Coast, Peter Anderson Festival, holiday season in Ocean Springs. And in Ocean Springs, everybody loves to be a part of that festival culture. It is, it's fall, it's the fall season, and we have some of our downtown businesses that are rallying together to do some cool fall decorations. It's just that time of year that's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of culture, and a lot of people from all over the United States coming to our town. We have Cruisin the Coast coming up. I think they've hit their record numbers of cars again this year. It's amazing to see an organization like that, how each year it just keeps creeping up from 9,000 now to almost 10,000 registered vehicles. That doesn't include for Ocean Springs the $6 million economic impact that it makes just thanks to Woody Bailey letting us bring the cars to Ocean Springs for 3 days.
I mean, it's the ultimate showcase, and as you point out, registered. When you get around 10,000 registered, Woody believes there's a large number of participants that aren't registered. And
right.
And that's good. I mean, he doesn't complain about it. He wished that they would register just because it helps kind of, keep things organized, and it gives them a sense of the scope and scale of the event, et cetera. But they're looking for economic impact, and it's a unique event in that it really showcases the entire Gulf Coast. And we're one of the only places in America where you can drive down an unencumbered view of the South of the beach and looking out over the Gulf of Mexico and Mississippi Sound. One of the only communities in America that had that. And boy, the car enthusiasts that come from all over the world, literally all over the world, to enjoy this. They see it too. And when they see it, they love it. And then when they get to know the people and they see the quaintness and the sense of place that exists in the unique sense of place that exists in each of the communities that are showcased as part of Cruisin the Coast, they want to come back again. So, this, in a lot of ways, they're just kind of coming back home for Cruisin, but they're going to come back home again 2 or 3 more times before Cruisin happens again. You hear it over and over again. I mean, we're hooking people, and they're falling in love with our area, aren't they?
They are, like for Cruisin the Coast, we've seen that now it's, the first week in October, but we get them for 3 days, and that's towards the end of the week. But we are now seeing, we've seen it for the last couple of years, we're seeing visitors come in, attendees come in a week before. So it's kind of neat to see that how our downtown businesses that's in that venue, how they've changed. They've adapted over the years to make sure they have the inventory that these folks want to purchase. It's just really cool to see all the distributors working together to make sure all these businesses are stocked up. It is a huge business here on the coast and in Ocean Springs because it's such a small concentrated area. It's really neat to see all of that work together to plan for that event and how they've all kind of changed and adapted to make it work for them. It's really, really neat to see. Like I said, we get these people coming in up to now a week before their stay, a week earlier to shop. And in Ocean Springs, we're growing our hotel and lodging that we have available. But of course, we like to include those on North Washington. So with over 1,000 rooms, and now we have, all of our vacation rentals, our cottages. It's really becoming quite a place to stay for Cruisin and Peter Anderson.
It's super cool. Woody Bailey and my friend Rob Siegler and several others who work in a group of volunteers. This volunteer network they put together through the various car clubs and all of that. Man, it is a massive undertaking. I mean, it really is. And then, of course, working with organizations like yours, showcasing coastal Mississippi, such a unique event. That's why USA Today continues to recognize it as a top car event in the United States. I mean, think about that for a second. And people who are regular listeners get tired of me hearing this, but some people may be just hearing it for the first time. The typical car event, say a cruising event, would be where they go to a big open field somewhere in Las Vegas or wherever, and they ooh and all over each other's cars, and it's a great event and good venues, and Woody and the team and others are not trying to take any of that away from them, but this is an event where they actually cruise. They actually get to be in their car and ride down Highway 90 and, going from, key spots in Hancock County all the way over to Moss Point and all points in between. It is, it's just a terrific event. And for those of us who live here, we tolerate the traffic congestion because we know what the economic impact is. And because the cruisers are such amazing people. I mean, they're just, they're good people. And we know they're leaving a ton of money here when they go back home. That's for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what helps our businesses sustain in our small town. Like I've said before, in Ocean Springs, we don't have those attractors like the big boxes or the casinos. So what are we doing? Even over in Pascagoula, they have the industry. In Ocean Springs, what do we have? We have our small businesses. And this is one of the ways that our small businesses sustain that and Peter Anderson and the Christmas holiday through the first part of the year until the next major events happen. So this is vital to their sustainability right now.
Well, what you described in the past as it relates to the Peter Anderson Festival has been that before COVID, it was a very successful event. I mean, obviously, one of the most successful festivals on the coast for sure. And then COVID happens. And as you began to ramp back up again, you were able to actually make some revisions to it, and that were very positive, actually. So last year's event included sort of a new approach, and it was very, very successful. And I'm assuming that you're going to take the same approach this year.
We are. I mean, it is the largest fine arts festival in the state. But with that still being said, last year we took it down about 100 vendors down, just to space it out a little bit more, give it back to that feel. Because one of the things that folks really enjoyed after COVID was all the space. Well, we can space our vendors out. We don't space them out quite as far as we did during COVID, but we still space them out 5 feet between each booth. And that gives a little bit of movement, but that takes down 100 vendors that may have been in before. And it's kind of hard when you have, over 100,000 people in downtown for 2 days. It's very tight traffic, but I think just like what you said, since COVID, we've changed it. We've downsized it a little bit, and we've made some changes that we think really kind of make it really cool. For any festival, any event, any activity that you do, you can't stay stagnant and keep it looking the exact same for, we're now in our 45th year. You're going to have to do things to reinvent it, make it new. And unfortunately, COVID forced us into that. So we're looking at close to 400 vendors from all over the United States. And, I always kind of like to see the tourism part of, where the visitors and the people come from. And this year, we're going to see a lot of new vendors from Texas. I don't know why. Of course, we do know that's good drive-in traffic for tourism, but it's really neat to see this year that we have a lot of new vendors, a higher concentration from Texas that we haven't seen before.
Well, that's neat. And when you say paring it down, that doesn't necessarily mean paring down the quality. In fact, you've actually been able to increase the quality of vendors that are related to sort of the art community.
Right. And, we work with the Ocean Springs Art Association. They have their big show inside the community center. We have something cool that I started a few years back. It's called the Young at Art Exhibit. And we partner with the Walter Anderson Museum of Art, and they run it now. And it is literally an area for kids age 8 to 18 to set up booths, sell their art just like the adults do throughout the festival, and gives them kind of an opportunity to see what it's going to be like if they choose to go down that road. So it's got some cool things that really do help us work with our partners now. We're going to have Raising Cane's there with a big Palinko activation area. We're going to have some fun things.
Hey, Cynthia, can you hang around for a minute? We'll get you back in the next segment. We'll continue our conversation with Cynthia from the Ocean Springs Chamber. Actually, I want to check in with her about what she's hearing from merchants these days. How's business, and when she looks at the vacation season, how did it go, et cetera. We'll see all that after we return after this break. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Mathews Show. I have my friend Cynthia Sutton, who is the executive director for the Ocean Springs Chamber and also Main Street effort, which is essentially the part of Ocean Springs that's focused on tourism. So not only are they involved with lots and lots and lots of volunteers to put on things like the Peter Anderson Museum, Peter Anderson Festival. There is a Peter Anderson Museum, of course, but Peter Anderson Festival. There is a real focus on where do people come from and how are we doing. I often say about Ocean Springs that it creates a giant sucking sound coming off Ocean Springs. And you guys, because you're there at the Welcome Center, get a chance to kind of get a flavor of all that. So tell me about it. How you look back on this vacation center season, how was it?
Yeah, actually, it was really good. We've seen, 2022 was an amazing year, really, I would say, for tourism numbers, for visitor center numbers, for hotel stays. And, we're still trying to get back to where we were, of course, before COVID. But I would say for this year, for the summertime, we actually did pretty good. We brought back something called the Pelican Pound. We call it Ocean Springs Currency. We had that in 2013, and it was a popular event, it's just a little coin. This is actually one of them. It's a $5 coin, and we give those out to visitors. So we did that over the summer months as a marketing campaign to kind of entice people to come to Ocean Springs. So I think that was very popular. We had more than 30 businesses in downtown participate in that. So I'm rambling to say, we did some fun things, we think, this summer to help kind of bring that tourism in. Of course, we're still waiting on some of those numbers to come in. But what we've seen so far, it's been up. The sales tax has been up for the summer months. Our visitor stats through our visitor center, because we track, where they come from, those numbers have been up. And our hotels have actually done pretty good, honestly. Most of them have been up a little bit this summer. So that's good. Again, every time summer, people think summer is just the best, because we're a tourist coastal destination. But, really the summer months fluctuate, and they really do. So we saw a little bit of that, of course, this summer, but the numbers seem good so far.
Yeah, it's not, again, this is very unique. Our community is very unique in that it is not just a 2 or 3 month kind of summer thing. Right. When I was in Alabama as president of Alabama Media Group and the publisher in Mobile, I had the opportunity to lead the oil recovery efforts for Governor Riley. And one of the things I often said as I learned more about Baldwin County is 25% of the state, 25% of all the state's tourism revenue came from Lower Baldwin County in a little over 2 months.
I believe it.
So, that is a real mostly summer deal. I mean, they still do some business, obviously when it's not summertime. Coast of Mississippi is kind of different, actually. There was a time when we were very much that, but right. Casinos and things like Cruisin the Coast and the big
Mardi Gras and all that.
Yeah, all these things. Mardi Gras, of course, for sure. Yeah. Make this an opportunity for us to be able to do well every single month if we stay tuned on that. So,
and I think that's a really cool thing to see that, coastal Mississippi, casinos, partners like us, I think people don't really understand the impact of that. That's our jobs. That's our jobs to bring that type of activity, entertainment year round. And I'm going to say, I think that the teams have done a really good job because really like in our local business community, it's kind of expected now. They expect to make so much off of our businesses, off of Cruisin the Coast. They expect to make so much off of Peter Anderson. Our hotel rates are going to change during this time because they expect that traffic that's going to come. So I think it's, a year-round thing that I think people sometimes don't realize what those partners do every day to bring that to everybody in the community.
I see it. Hey, listen, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, you injured your heel, so you can't literally go out and walk around like you normally do. But the thing is, though, you guys do spend a lot of time just visiting merchants and going into restaurants, and you guys know each other. You're in the trenches together, so to speak. Yep. When you're out and about with merchants and restaurant owners, et cetera, what are you hearing from them? Do you hearing that they are very pleased with how things are going?
Yeah, actually, we really do. So, since it's festival season, we spruce up. We have a team of volunteers that spruce up the downtown area through Main Street, just getting ready for fall. And we encourage our businesses to decorate and things like that. So we've actually done some polls with some of our businesses lately and asked them, like, what do you want to do for fall? We used to do a fall decoration. Then a couple of years ago, we brought back the scarecrow contest. Then we did this. Then we did that. And we've been just trying to figure out, what do the businesses want? What really makes the impact? What really helps? And what we've heard is that the businesses are like, we're too busy. We're too busy to decorate. We're too busy to do anything extra. So I think that's a really cool thing to hear from them. And like you said, down in the trenches together, we're all working together to bring those people here, to make sure we have the best trends, to make sure we have the best art. We keep that character. Little side note. We recently won, not won, I guess you could say won. We're going to claim it as a win. We got an article that just came out in Southern Living that Ocean Springs is one of the best places to retire. And I think that a lot of the demographic has changed, especially in Ocean Springs, to bring in a younger crowd, but we still have that retirement crowd. But the whole reason for pointing that out is with our businesses, we have a big mix of that, and we're seeing a change that we're having a lot of younger crowd, younger business owners, mixed in with all of our staple business owners, and they want to be part of the community more. They may be super busy and maybe they don't have time to do the fall decorations or something like that, but they are ready, and everybody just works together, and they're thriving and coming up with cool ideas. I don't know if you've heard of the Witches Ride that we've had in Ocean Springs. That's coming at the end of October. 450 witches have registered to take part in that event. Where are we going to put them in downtown?
Wow. That's really cool. Hey, listen, as we've discussed in the past when we talked about the rooster situation, there's a Key West feel to downtown Ocean Springs. You know, there's a Key West vibe to it. Like the cats, for example. Think about Ernest Hemingway's house and the feral cats that are around there in Key West. You've got your own cats that are hanging out. Are they still doing well?
Yep, they are. I still have my little clan here at the depot, feed them 7 days a week. And the cool thing is that, you know, when visitors come in, they're asked, like, why do you have all these cats around? And, you know, I always like to say, well, it's part of our culture. That was one of Walter Anderson's favorite animals. He loved to paint cats. He loved to paint roosters. And it's just kind of enriched in our community. And with that being said, it's kind of funny because I was just talking about the fall decorating that we're sprucing up around town. And we got an artist who's at Peter Anderson to make us some wooden figurines, and she made us witches and cats.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Hey, are there any lingering roosters these days?
You know, I actually haven't seen any in a while, but they always pop up from time to time. So I'm sure there's one or two in downtown, but it's fun to see them. And I have to say, really, like you said, the Key West feel, visitors really actually enjoy that a lot. They really do. It adds a little touch, just a little fun character. And it's kind of neat because we all do along the coast, but in Ocean Springs, we have a big concentration of restaurants that have outdoor seating. Oh my gosh, you should see now. People bring their cats in strollers. You'll see a couple of birds sitting on the little railings. So it has become quite an interesting Key West culture feel on our own take.
Well, I've said this before, but you remember my granddaughter and I had come downtown one day. It was kind of chilly, but it was supposed to get really cold. And we bumped into you, and the only reason that you were there was to feed the cats and then to think about what you could do to make sure they were safe. I think at the time there was an approaching cold front. And I was touched by that. I said, oh, you know, Cynthia's got a kind heart, and you're trying to do the right thing for these cats that really don't have anybody looking out for them, really. You know, it's just, you know, a collection of folks like yourself that tend to do that. And that's
I'm gonna add some cat houses, and I got a couple artists that's gonna help paint them, and I'll put spruce those in the lot.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You know, but that again, that's the same kind of vibe, the same kind of community outreach that you would see happening in a place like Key West. As we kind of wound down our conversation today, is there anything else that you want to talk about, a report that we haven't discussed?
Yeah, not too much. I just like to say, you know, that in Ocean Springs, you know, we like to say that our job is to have fun and bring a party. So this year we hope to really see a good impact. And with the economic development and everything, it's kind of cool to see in the last couple of years that we've actually seen businesses try to open up around and be available by Cruisin and Peter Anderson. So we're still seeing some of that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Listen, it's been a pleasure, my friend.
Always.
Keep up the good work and hope the healing continues on your heel. Listen, when we come back, Kyle's going to join me for a few minutes to kind of tidy up the show. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to Super Talk and the Ricky Mathews Show. And I really enjoyed that conversation with Cynthia Sutton from the Ocean Springs Chamber. She's terrific. I really enjoy spending time with her. And that group of volunteers they have in Ocean Springs working together on all of these events that they're doing is really important to the city. I mean, you think about Cruisin and Peter Anderson, this witches thing that they have with over 450 people registered. Wow. Merchants and restaurants got to love that kind of stuff. Hey, I want to ask my buddy Kyle to come into the conversation. And first of all, just say good morning. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Listen, the stretch of the Shuckers, I guess it's kind of the season's over. Is that right?
Season is over. We missed the playoffs by half a game.
Oh no, man! I hate to hear that. I'm not a big, I don't follow baseball big time. I do follow Shuckers a little bit just because of you, but I didn't realize they got that close.
Yeah, the way I've been doing with teams, I usually don't follow them unless I'm actually working those events during that week. So I didn't follow them while they were on the road. When I went back for that last final homestand going into Tuesday, realized that we were going to have to win 4 of 6 to make the playoffs. And I believe we split it 3-3.
Yeah. Wow. That's tough.
We were a half a game out. So I'm guessing it was, I never looked at the final standings. I'm just guessing it was still a half a game because of where we were at going into it.
So you're doing a public address announcing and you're doing music. Are you doing it all?
At Shuckers, yes.
Yeah.
Like NPA. Yep. It was.
So, how was attendance?
Music before he had, he just really had not enough time to do that job because of his main full-time job. And it was, we had somebody kind of in mind, or they did. And I think when we did the first 2 Mississippi State games, it was just easier for me to just do it as opposed to try and train somebody while the game is happening and do that. So I was like, I'll just do it both. And we, mutually agreed upon a fee and we went with it. And I think it worked out pretty good.
Well, I mean, you're a music expert. Come on now. I mean, you helped launch and have been around for the whole WCPR story and your work over at the Superdome during Saints games. I mean, how could there ever be anyone more qualified than you to do that?
Yeah, but it's trying to do that and music. It can be a bit much at times. You kind of get wrapped up in one or the other, and you really can't do that. You've got to be. It's really about planning ahead. That's for sure.
Kyle, this is you we're talking about. The guy that I call the jack of all trades, doing operations and announcing and voicing and IT and all this stuff. You're a multifaceted dude.
Thank you. Is what I tried to do in the beginning of the season. We would map out the entire 9 innings of what I'm going to play at each half inning based around the promotions. And then I think the last 2 homestands, so about the last 12, 15 games or so, I stopped trying to script it out that way. I was like, we just build in the normal music that we use specifically for those events, and then everything else I would just make up as I went.
That's cool. Listen, not too much about the Saints because we get an opportunity every week to chat with Jeff about it, but they got out to the season pretty good. I hope the offense continues to improve. We need a strong showing for our offense. A lot of people are saying that they're just kind of feeling it out. And, as Kamara comes back into the fold and as we start to, find our personality, that they'll start to, let it loose more. I hope that's the case. And it's going to be a fun year for you, I think, at the Superdome.
Yeah, I hope so too. Again, yes, I reflect what you're saying too, is I hope the offensive line gets solid and we can get away from having these sacks. And then Kamara, I think, is just going to add another layer of an already potent offense. I think you get Mike Thomas in the game and the rest of the receiving core, they can be dangerous. And again, the wild card is that offensive line.
It really is, man. It's the thing we're going to continue to watch closely as they continue to improve, and let's hope they continue to improve. That is for sure. How much time we got left, bud?
We got a minute and a half.
Okay, good. So, how's your son doing in his sports exploits?
He's doing good. He's really into the football. He still kicking, still punting. Spirit of homecoming blessed our yard last week, and
yeah. Oh yeah. I guess I don't like that.
It doesn't bother me. I had some friends had mentioned that, yeah, you and your buddies weren't exactly getting into that stuff either when you were in school. No, we were perfect saints, but that's
Hey, my son Jordan was a kicker and a punter as well at St. Patrick's when he was there. So it's a fun experience for your son.
Yeah, well, now my son is having the itch if he thinks he might go out for quarterback next year.
Wow, cool.
So, he can throw the ball good. He can run. and he's starting to know the place. And our quarterback now is a senior, so it's kind of up in the air what we're doing next year.
Yeah,
see what happens. Got about 20 seconds.
Yeah. Well, listen, buddy, thanks for all you do to continue to make the show what it is. I really, really appreciate it. Have a great day, my friend.
You too. Have a great one. We'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day. And anyway, we'll pick it up tomorrow and continue the conversation. See you later.